one ever asked me that. That's a good question. Never really thought about it. That was my thing. Now, after 2 years, I'm in here watching all the old 2019 World Cup games,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, okay.
You don't have to be humble about it. They suck. All right, they suck, and you should have known better.
No.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. You are now tuned in to the greatest of all time, the greatest of all time.
Welcome to the Rugby Swag Show.
Welcome to Rugby Swag. My name is GiftTime, a Bailu, and of course, this is a show where we talk about all things rugby and the people that are involved in impacting. 2024, we got our first interview. I told y'all I was bringing back the interviews in full form this year, and we're kicking it off right off the bat. First and foremost, please, if you guys do like it, absolutely, please go like and subscribe to the YouTube channel at GiftTime Rugby, and definitely like this video. If you guys are listening on the audio, please, if you're on Apple Podcasts, leave a review on there. And if you're on Spotify, actually, you can do that as well. Please leave a review. Tell your friends about it. And lastly, you guys please continue to follow us on Rugby Swag show Instagram page at GiftTime Rugby, on Facebook at GiftTime Rugby, on TikTok at Gift A Bailu on X. And just so we can know and continue to engage, I enjoy every single one of the comments and conversations that we have all the time. So that being said, I also want to thank our sponsor, Health Enhanced Foods, for being able to allow this interview to be able to happen. Absolutely, y'all, if you guys are looking to change your eating habits and be able to have the breads and pastries that you've had in the past and not have to worry so much about it being a negative impact on your health, absolutely go check out healthenhancedfoods.com, and you guys will get 10% off your first purchase with promo code RugbySwag. I'm telling you guys, there's a whole list for all your health needs and for those who have dietary specificities. So please definitely go check it out. And in the meantime, I want to introduce you to our special guest for today. It is one of my boys coming out of the HBCU realm. I want to introduce you to Craig Dawson. I'm going to let you get back to the show in a moment, but I want to talk to you about our sponsors, Health Enhanced Foods, the best specialty flours in the business. What does that mean for you? That is the flours that allow you to be able to get the nutritious need from your bread make. That's muffins, bread, croissants, whatever, pancakes and muffins. It will give you the opportunity to be able to get the best while still being able to eat like you wanted to. We have various amounts of products available for those who have special dietary needs to those who are looking for a special health outcome. And of course, because they're part of the Rugby Swag show, we want to let you know that you got a chance to go to healthenhancedfoods.com and use code Rugby Swag to be able to get 20% off your first order. Y'all, this is something that you're going to need. You got to build up, have your energy at the best, be the maximum. It's 2024. Let's do the best. But now, I want you guys to get into it. Let's get back to the show.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Rugby Swag. Okay, we got a special guest for you today. Look, man, you guys know I'm an HBCU fan, but I need to let you guys know about the group of people who have been able to allow my HBCU Rugby Classic to happen. And we're talking to the captain, one of the most dedicated, longest lasting captains out here 4 years straight, been out here doing it hard. I want to give a big shout out and a presentation to the stage, Mr. Craig Dawson of Prairie View A&M. Craig, man, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Yeah, man, I'm glad to be here. Glad to be here.
Yo, Craig, look, obviously we talked before, but I'm going to put, because it's the audience and, I have to do it extra. I got to put the history of what we got because, after COVID, during COVID, we were working on trying to set this next HBCU Rugby Classic up in 2021 when I had no idea what was going to happen. I was taking a shot in the dark. It was craziness, and you almost single-handedly allowed this thing to happen because you were able to get the Prairie View A&M guys together, which allowed us to be able to still bring the Roots Rugby guys. And you guys also had brought the Prairie View A&M women, who ended up being the first, HBCU team to women's team to actually play on any stage. And a lot of that, I give a lot of gratitude to you and the rest of the guys for it. And from then, you have been one of the most dedicated, alumni. I'm not alumni because you're not graduated yet, but HBCU rugby, loyalists, consistencies, I give so much appreciation. So Craig, I want to say that on public because I like to make it nice and loud. So yeah, man, I appreciate you big time because I don't know if the HBCU Rugby Classic would have been able to happen anymore if you guys had not been able to make it through in 2021 in a clutch.
Yeah, that was well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's great to be here. I've watched a few of your shows, some of our other previous players, and I was like, man, that looks like a fun place to be, fun to talk to him and stuff like that. So glad I'm here. But yeah, that 2021 HBCU Classic, that was crazy. I think we practiced for, we didn't have a season. COVID hit or still was going on, and we didn't have a season at all. We were just out there practicing, playing touch, just having fun. And I think you as Raheem and me at the time, we were talking and we were like, hey, Gift just hit us up. The class is going on. The class is going on. I was like, the classic? And that's when I saw the video of the old classic with the old team. And I went, oh, we have to do this. We have to go and play Morehouse at the time. That's what we thought we were getting. So,
right.
All right, let's go. So I think, man, Raheem put in a lot of money to that. I put in a lot of money to that. The Airbnbs, renting vans, and getting travel arrangements.
Right.
Man, that was probably the craziest and the most fun experience I've had out of this whole rugby thing. Getting to go play in another state against a team that I'd never heard of. Actually, I'd never heard of any of those teams until even the high school team. I was like, high school? I was like, I don't know.
Wait, hold on. What do we got?
Yeah, I was like, who are they? And they're like, I looked at the schedule. I was like, high school? I was like, who are these teams? I don't know. I was like, man, these guys are good. I was like, okay. So, yeah, that was fun. That was a great experience. And then I think just after we got back from that tournament, what did we do? Yes, I became president. Literally right after. I mean, it was that next week.
Wow.
It was crazy. I was the captain or vice president, or I was the captain at the time. And then, Raheem was like, everyone was like, it's Craig. It's got to be him. He's there every day. He does the things he needs to do. So I'm very thankful for that past team giving me the opportunity to be the president. And then it just led into 4 years.
Man. Dude, that's what it's the amazing thing. It's one of those things that come with rugby. You don't really ever realize exactly what's going to happen, and then all of a sudden, the thing that you least expected happens. But you're like, oh my god, this was the best. This was great. I had no idea. I never would have imagined it. I probably wouldn't have done it if it was organic. But at the same time, I'm so happy I did it, and I'll do it again if I could. Kind of situation.
Absolutely.
Well, look, I always like to say, whenever we're talking about a hero story, because I always love to get that setup. Every hero has their arc, their story, their beginning, their origin. For you, Craig, I want to ask you, and I don't know if you're ready, but we're going to make this ready. All right? I want to ask, how did you get started in rugby?
Oh, wow. It was probably going to be I was probably a senior in high school, and we were supposed to have rugby brought into my high school, but sadly the coach passed away. And so the school itself was robbed of that opportunity to have rugby brought in. So I played football, and I watched a game. It was, I think it might have been I don't remember if it was a union or a league game, but it was on TV. I just happened to Fox Sports or whatever, and it was on there. And I watched and said, what's that? And my dad was like, that's rugby. And that was my first taste. I was like, man, that looks kind of fun. But, then I got into it. And yeah, freshman year, my dad was like, "You're gonna go try out for the football team," and I went to do that, and I had missed tryouts
Oh
for
wow.
missed tryouts for because I was working had it in the summer, which was totally strange. 2019, they no COVID yet, so
This is
fall,
why we were peak like extraness. Like, okay, we can do anything and
oh yeah,
everything.
uh,
Life is chaotic, but we're free.
yeah, we before COVID, man, I was like, all right, I'm gonna go try out for the football team and missed tryouts because I was working in the summer.
Yeah,
Got to pee. My parents were like, all right, well, you got to do something, you know. And so I was like, oh, I found rugby. It was funny because their match secretary at the time hit me up on Twitter, and I was like, rugby. I, was like, I remember watching that. So I went to their meeting, and first thing they did was like they looked at me and they said, "I'll be like your cleats." I was like, I'm here. This is it. They like my cleats. They were camoed out. They were real nice, you know. And yeah, ever since then, 2019, I met Rico. I met one of our coaches now, who's been my best friend, Michael Toussaint. He's been helping me out along the way.
my guy
Um,
Michael, an original for the HBCU Rugby
oh
Classic.
yeah, I met all those guys: Aaron, Brandon, Avery, Brandon, Raymond. I met all of those guys. So I met Malik. Malik was the one I met him too, and
Right,
I met Karima. I met all of the people that have pretty much either been on the show or you might have on the show later on.
right.
Um, yeah, I got to meet all those guys. Got to meet and got to play. First game was against Texas State. At the time, they were tough stuff.
Legit.
So it was a big experience. My dad, before he passed, got to watch me play my first rugby game actually, and
That's
actually my
awesome.
whole family, my grandpa and dad. So I was like, "This is it." They watched. They said, "You got to stick with this."
That's
Because,
awesome.
yeah, because Rico had went talking and said, your son has the most natural talent to play rugby. He's like, you could be an all star. And ever since then, I just stuck with it. It
Bro,
was,
I love that. Wow. That's man, there's a lot to pull from that. But my that's dope. Okay, so let's back it up just a little bit. So
yeah.
where are you from exactly?
I'm from Waco, Texas, which is central Texas, right in between Austin and Dallas. So it's like
Oh shoot.
Dallas, yeah, or wherever it's at. It's like right in
It,
between. So like right here.
so it's I like to call that like the middle of everywhere nowhere because you have all the traffic that goes between it, but you're smack there's nothing but
Oh
small
yeah,
towns in that area.
absolutely. A lot of people uh, at Killeen, Fort Hood, if you're a military person, and Killeen and Fort Hood. So that's
Yeah.
if you go right there, and then you have Temple, and then Waco's the bigger area. So and you got all these other small towns around it. So yeah, just Waco, Texas.
That's awesome. So you're in Waco, so we know this is I mean it's Texas, so obviously major football hub, and
hmm
obviously you're saying senior year is when you initially had connected with rugby. So for you as a football person, had you not gone with rugby, what was the hope and plan when it came with football?
Oh man, no one ever asked me that. That's a good question. Never really thought about it, but I
Rugby, a racing.
yes, it's like I probably would have tried out for the team again that next year if I had never
Yeah,
found rugby. I would have stayed working out, stuff like that. Obviously, trying to do football, but I don't know. Maybe would have found another sport. You know, I was always good at small other things like baseball, and I did powerlifting. I would have found if there was a powerlifting team or something like that. Who knows? Really, I never, you know, if I never got that DM on Twitter, I just would have never would have found rugby. Really, maybe later, but I never would have done it.
right. No, so I do find it interesting because the next thing obviously is finding it randomly on TV, and for me, it was a similar situation. I saw it on NBC. I think it was for USA Sevens, and I think it was like Scotland versus South Africa, something like that.
hmm
It was like I can do that. Well, like they're not even doing enough. I can do more than that, and then found my team from there. Straight arrogance. This is how we do it.
Oh yeah.
But I was surprised in the fact of you saying it because for me, this was 2009 whenever I saw that, where streaming obviously hadn't existed yet into that
hmm
primary form. We're still very, very much cable centric and all that good stuff. But 2019, we're seeing the upslide. We're already starting to see little bits and pieces of the cord cutting. So for you to find it on Fox Sports is a really interesting situation.
Oh
Like
yeah.
for you, was it like did you was it just like you were looking for some, or are you one of those households that were like we just kept sports on the TV in the background, and if you saw it, you saw it. You don't know, and you had Fox Sports, which means you had a specific cable package.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I believe for me it was I just watched ESPN all the time. I was
Yeah,
always ESPN. It was like, Dad had something with fantasy. I'd be like, oh, this person, this person. He'd be like, how would you
yeah,
know that? And I'm like, ESPN. And so yeah, I think it was on a Saturday. College football was on. I'm scrolling through the channels, and it just
nice.
happened. It popped up, and I was like, what, this must be soccer. I thought soccer at
So
first,
you
and then
see the jerseys, you're just like,
yeah, well, I saw the names. It was New Zealand and somebody else, and I was like, soccer or something maybe. And I clicked it, and I was like, ooh, okay, this is it. I was like, oh, this is interesting. I didn't know what I was watching at first because I didn't know the rules or anything, but it just piqued my interest. There was contact, and they were passing the ball, and they were making great plays, and I was like, all right, this is fun. So that was my first little taste. My dad was from Indiana, so he had uh, military friends that played rugby. I met one. I went to a women's rugby game. That was my
nice.
first in person. He was like, hey, let's go see a friend of mine. So we went.
Where was that at?
Oh, that was back. Let's see. That was I can't remember where in Indiana. I don't know it was Indiana, but I can't remember exactly where.
Right.
But we had went to see his family, and yeah, it was just our first in-person game to watch. Again, didn't really know what I was really like
Of
watching,
course. We
but
don't. We all know it all starts as chaos at the beginning. We're just like, yo, people are just running and hitting. I don't know what's going on.
yeah, I see somebody's getting a yellow card. I'm like, what is it? Is this soccer? Like, what are we? Who's our
What's
defense?
happening right now?
But yeah, that was my first in person. It was a women's game, and then on TV, I got to watch. A few years down the road, I got to watch a men's game on TV. So
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this is something fun. And then again, got to college, didn't get to do football, and my parents said, all right, you don't get hurt.
Word.
It turned out that
Is,
first season.
what is your family like? Obviously, you have your dad had a military background. Obviously,
hmm
is your family also like a sports family? Like they had a background in sports outside of like high school sports, or was it
Oh,
something that was just everybody did something athletic when they were younger in some way, shape, or form?
I'd say we were a pretty athletic
Yeah.
family. My mom did softball, and she got to go overseas and play a little bit when she was younger, like high school level.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
my dad, he did wrestling, football, baseball. And so when he was in high school, and then my grandpa, he was mostly baseball.
Yeah.
He did it in college, and then my uncles, you know, they all played football, baseball. They did all the sports. So we're a pretty big family, our
Yeah.
sport family. So
And you have siblings as well too?
yeah, yeah. I got a younger sister who's
Okay.
in the other room. I have a half sister who's up in Indiana.
Nice.
Um, and then I have maybe some other family members, but those two I comment first on. But I do have other family members that are just I may have not met yet.
Right. But basically, like the integration of sports was already within the blood. Like in some way, shape, or
Absolutely,
form, there's always been that seated interest. I love that.
absolutely, absolutely.
So, going into like playing rugby, because you started playing officially when you got to college, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So whenever you got in and you played, what was that moment that it clicked for you that you're just like, oh, okay, this is the sport that I want?
Um, I honestly would have to say first first game. First game, Texas State, 2019. I was our home game at the time. We didn't have a home field. We went down and played at A&M. But yeah, first game. It was that game. I was like, this is it. So we didn't have a lot of subs, so I got to play most of the whole game. I was like, this
Nice.
is the game. We got back, watched film, and I'm like, this is it. I'm stuck with this. Well, and I'd already paid at the time was a SIP. I had to, so I was like, my parents were like, "You're playing this regardless of what you're
Right.
doing.
You paid
You,
money.
yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah. There's no quitting. So there's no quitting in this family. So it was like, you're doing it. You're doing it. Stay healthy and just keep working out, and we'll be all good."
Nice, dude. I love that. Like, and that's the thing. Like, especially, and I give a lot of credit because sometimes you get those like weird clashes where, especially if the parents, most of our parents don't know rugby off bat. So it's not uncommon. Obviously, we all come from different sides of sports typically, and then enter into it. But it's always like with the parents, it can either be like, we don't want you to do it, so you focus in on school,
Hmm.
or we don't know anything about it. I mean, do what you got to do. We're just gonna kind of sit in the back. But it sounds like
Yeah,
your parents were just like, not only does it seem like you like it, like we're gonna encourage you to keep pushing through into it.
yeah, absolutely. My parents are very supportive. Grandparents are very supportive. They pushed me to do everything. It was football in high school and powerlifting, and then got to college, and then it was rugby. And it was like, hey, look, we're going to try to be at every game we can, except when you go to 4 hours to Corpus Christi, and
Right.
it's like, wait,
Calm down,
no,
calm down.
yeah,
We got limits. We'll watch it.
oh yeah, oh yeah. But yeah, they're very supportive. I try to get as many games as I can close to where they are up here in
Yeah,
Waco. So, I've tried to schedule games with Baylor, especially that's right there. I try to schedule games in San Antonio, Austin. Um, you get a few in Houston, here and there, but I try to get the ones that are close to us, just random
right.
teams if we can.
Yeah, the ones that might not get as much looks, but or everybody's hungry to get that action in.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So, speaking of that, um, some big news. We're actually trying to host our first sevens tournament coming up. So at PV, we look to use the football stadium, but due to financial, I guess, constraints, they have
Dude,
not
it's
to work.
costly to be able to use those stadiums, man. And look, you speaking to the choir right now.
Yeah, I was like, the athletic director, he told me, and I was like, to rent out one half, it was like this much, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I was like,
Oh,
so we're gonna, we're not
we're gonna
gonna
take
do
the
that.
side field. See, we just want to be
Yeah,
stadium adjacent over here.
that's exactly where our field is. You look from our field, it's like, oh look, there's the home side. So
Brother, when I tell you this is when it started with Southern University, it happened with Howard University. Like being on campus to use the stadium, you're like, man, this is great. Oh, let me look at that invoice. Bro, man, that other field over there,
it looks
that's looking
great.
real good over there. I think we can put some chairs around. Yo, I think it's a lot of access. People will see us on campus.
Absolutely, absolutely. But no, we are looking to host our first sevens tournament, so
Congratulations.
we will let you know when that is, and we will
Please do.
absolutely. We are looking actually to be rough date March 2nd.
Okay.
So we're looking at that March 2nd.
Of
I
this
think it's a
year?
Saturday or yes, actually. So
Cheers to that.
I've got to, and you mentioned the smaller teams, so we're trying to look at, friendly tournament, let teams, because we got national start or um, I guess official college sevens, like
Yeah.
tournaments that you can get into and then move up to like the national qualifying tournaments.
Right.
Like just small teams that if they want to do that, they can go to our tournament and say, all right, look, we have a bigger roster and you can see who you want to play in these other, like who you can make out a final roster with.
Allow them to warm up a little bit.
Absolutely, especially other teams, but especially us. I know for us, our first game in sevens is always bad. Like we it takes us our first game to start like feeling it out, and then
Right.
towards the like last 2 minutes, we're starting to hit stride, and I'm like, guys, it's a little late for that, but and then I was like, if it's a 5 game tournament, we're like, oh, okay, 4-1, we'll take it.
We'll do
So
it. Cool.
yeah,
No,
yeah,
I love that. No, congrats. I think that's significant, especially not only is it a good it's a good fundraiser for the teams if you can do that, but the other half of it is that it gives you guys something to invite people to because it's very hard sometimes to do the individual games. Whenever, especially the 15s games, if you don't have an education for the people to come in to watch it, or
mhm.
there's just like the environment might not be exactly set for spectating, like open field, no chairs, yada yada. Like we know this one comes in so heavily. so often.
Absolutely, absolutely, and they'll have other sporting events like softball and stuff going on at the time as well. So it's kind of like, how do we get them to come to our stuff if,
Yeah,
let's say, a track event's going on or a baseball game's going on? So it's like,
exactly.
we had the fortunate, we had to play a rugby game last spring, the same day a softball game was going on. So
Ooh.
yeah, we started at 2. They started at like I think 4. Or no,
Yeah,
they started at like 2:30. That was like their second game of the day. So we had our guys parking, over there. They were walking over. We're starting up a game, and I've got softball parents looking back over the stands watching
that's it.
us.
That's it. Exactly. It's
I
like,
was
yo,
like,
let's utilize something bigger
okay.
to be able to attract us to us. Bring the attention. We out here. No, we just got to give us a chance to see us.
Absolutely, absolutely. We love our softball team. Again, we also try to partner with them and do stuff with them. So they come out to our games, we go to theirs. We kind of have a
Yeah.
little bit of a cohesive like support. Like, hey guys, every chance we get, hey, they got a softball game. Let's go watch. Let's go support them. So
I love you talked about that because I want to go into that a little bit, but I'm going to that a little bit later. Before I
okay.
continue, I got to ask you. This is obviously going to be the prime question, yo. All right, Craig, man. All right, you're in Central Texas, Lakeland. All right, it's one thing to go to Austin, Dallas, or Houston. That in and of itself, you're all the way out. How the heck do you get out to HBCU Prairie View A&M? I'm not saying it's a small school. I'm just saying,
Oh.
it's not the most popular one or the one that you think of in Texas of all places. I would have thought TSU probably first before that. So, like, how did this go on?
Well, so at first it was Angelo State actually.
Uh-huh.
Before that, they accepted me first, so I was like, okay. Well, at first, but Prairie View was like right like 2 days behind them, so I was really considering, and then I got that second one from Prairie View, and I was like, man. Well, the deciding factor was back when I was a sophomore, junior in high school. I worked with my dad, and we did portable traffic signals, and we took them down to Prairie View to give to a uh, professor, actually, for
Word.
them to work on them in the mechanical engineering department. So we got to meet her, and she, talked us into it a little bit, and I got to see the campus it was like a bright sunny day, like 75. It was perfect. And it was beautiful. And I was like, you know what, this is a great place to be.
Yeah.
So, at junior year came around, senior year came around, and we were like applying to schools, and Prairie View was like the first one. My dad was like, hey, you've been there, you saw it, apply to it. And yeah, ever since then, I was like, and they accepted me. And Angelo State was like 3.5, 4 hours away, somewhere
Yeah.
around there, and Prairie View was only like 2.5, and it was like,
That makes it. Also, you're not going all the way to West Texas like you would be with Angelo saying, no hate to the. No, I had
yeah,
a
no, not at
buddy.
all.
I had a buddy, Aaron. He was the captain for the Angelo State rugby team at the time before he moved to Japan, ironically. Also, another place that I knew a lot of people and actually played against my rival team. But I'd done a game with Angelo State versus Mexico, a team out of Mexico. Out of there.
Really?
So, yeah, he had set it up. It was dope. Like, it was the first time I've ever been to El Paso, Texas. I was like, hold up. There's a real border wall over here. I was like, what's
Oh
happening?
yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
wait, I thought they said there's no border walls. Lies. The lies.
I've been there. I've been there. I've been to Arizona, New Mexico. I've been through there. Man, I've been there when it snowed, and it's just
Wait,
like
it
I thought it.
snows there? What's the point of it if it's supposed to be hot as hell over there? I saw tumbleweed.
Hey,
I saw tumbleweed for the first time driving through there,
we
driving
had.
to there.
I was little, and we had just got through El Paso and got into, I said Arizona or New Mexico? I think it's New Mexico,
Yeah.
and it was snowing. We stopped at a hotel, woke up that morning. It was snowing just on the outside of El Paso. We were like, what is
Texas
this?
is a weird state. Y'all are all weird out there. Texas is a weird state. It doesn't make any sense. You're supposed to have all this heat, yet you get the worst versions of cold. I don't
Oh,
get it.
it's like, let's see, it's 50 or 60 or something like that right now. It was windy, rainy today, so that's fun. So, but yeah, Prairie View was the option, and ever since then, I was like, I like it here. So.
Hey everybody, this is just the Bray train sending out a personal little video diary to all you people out there, where I am going to document me riding most of the way between Singapore and Tokyo for the 2019 Rugby World Cup. Number one is because it's part of my business. I do Rugby Lovers Guide to Asia. Number two is I want to bring a lot of exposure to the rugby clubs and the rugby NGOs and charities. Also, on a personal level, I just want to break the funk I've kind of felt I've been into for the last 10 years.
So for the next 12 months, I poured myself into this Singapore to Tokyo campaign, but it still wasn't enough. I needed help, and it came from Louisiana.
We in Singapore, baby!
Gift from GiftTime Rugby USA is a extroverted tour de force,
Say hi to my people out there.
which makes up for my social shortcomings.
This place is unbelievable. It's not just it's like
What's he supposed to do?
morons, a bunch of morons.
Guys, picture with me. Picture. Australian. G'day, mate. You can use my phone. But what unites us is a hunger for adventure.
Off to KL, Kuala Lumpur.
Gift, where are we?
We're in
Morning, Vietnam! Mount Fuji, baby!
Our love of Asian rugby culture.
1, 2, 3, center!
Rugby is starting to develop here in Cambodia for women as well.
Valkyries, the mighty Valkyries!
And allows us to overcome incredible obstacles.
It's just got so thick. It's just so thick here. Now it's pouring down rain again.
But coming to this Thai-Cambodia border has renewed all the aggression.
So the whole thing's gone buggered. I got hit.
What?
I got tail-ended by a motorbike. I can just feel that knee, that ankle just going in all the wrong directions under the weight of my body. But that doesn't compare to the pain of failure.
I'm dying. Oh, I'm dying.
And that's what I've been worried about this whole time. We're out here, we're running out of energy, we're running out of money, and we're feeling isolated. And yet at that critical moment, friends, family, sometimes complete strangers come on board. Before you know it, we're back in the game. Tokyo, here we come!
Making a comeback. 4 weeks, 2,300 miles, 5 countries.
After all the trials and tribulations, this ride had become deeply personal. All that mattered now was getting to that Rugby World Cup game in Tokyo.
Yeah, buddy. All right. Be easy. Go check out redearthfilms.vhx.tv to get your copy of Singapore to Tokyo any way we can. That's redearthfilms.vhx.tv.
So what has been your experience? Because look, we're elephant in the room. White guy at HBCU, not uncommon. I went to not uncommon, but it's the obviously going into a space that has a different culture than any other PWI. So for you and entering into it, like, what was that experience like in comparison to what you guys were dealing with in Central? Because I know even the fact that you're in Lakeland between Austin and Dallas, you're in still ironically a very diverse area, even if it's in the middle of nowhere. So, yeah. Like, what was that experience entering in there as being a minority rather than just another part of the city?
Honestly, it was really welcoming. Everyone really welcomed me, and it was amazing. My freshman year, it was probably the most fun I've ever had. I actually had a few friends that went to my high school, and they all went to Prairie View as well. They all had, accepted, and they're going there as well. So one of them was actually in my building. So I got to hang out with him, and he introduced me to some new people. I'm a big introvert. I'm not a
Yeah.
big like group person. I don't like do parties or anything. So it's like I'm there to myself. So he
Right.
helped me get around like the building and meet new people, meet other people on campus, and I was like, okay, like this is great. And ever since then, everybody's like, I walk by somebody, I'm like, hey Craig, and I'm like, hey, what's up?
Who is that? I don't know.
Who is this person? Who is this person? Have I met you before? Like it was crazy, and I don't know how it happens, but yeah, everyone's great on campus. No one has ever been mean to me or anything. Everyone's great. So, and then everyone's like, you're not the only white guy. And at first I was like, am I the only white dude on campus? But then they're like, no, they have baseball team, and I went and watched the baseball. Like, okay, all right, so we're all right.
But there's 6 more over there. There's 6 more. All right.
But especially, I think the first few years I was there, they're like, you're probably one of the only redheads on campus. So
that one I was gonna say, that one has to be the. I didn't want to go into the gingerness. No offense. I don't know if that's a derogatory term now. Like it changed over time. But yeah, look, I was gonna say, look, it's one thing to be the white dude, but you got the red hair too. Hey, man,
yeah.
you said I'm a standout for sure. Let me show you what I got.
It wasn't just the red hair, man. It was the beard too. And the beard coming in freshman year, everyone was like, like what?
By the way, I gotta say, I do want to say, glorious beard. Glorious beard.
Thank you.
Cheers,
thank you. But yeah, it's a great experience to be at PV. I will say, if anyone does want to come here, definitely talk to some people that have been to PV before you make your choice. Look at other HBCUs as well. If you're going for rugby, definitely you can look at Prairie View. You can look at Howard as well. They're doing an amazing job up at Howard. Morehouse, if they're still going strong, I believe. And I really hope there's other more HBCUs. Florida Memorial, I believe, has one in Florida. So, or somewhere.
There's multiple. FMU is. There's other ones that are coming along. FMU kind of stalled out a little bit out there, but no, in terms of like the HBCUs, obviously it is significantly growing and continuing on. I wanted to ask on HBCU because I talked to Michael. He's again one of the former guys, and he told me about the Mount, or on the Hill, something on the Hill.
Oh yeah, the Hill. I think, yeah. Okay. I think I'm there.
You like it's an event that you guys do like every Wednesday or something like that.
Oh, hump day. You're talking about hump day.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was that? Because talking to him, it sounded like absolutely lit. Like, what was that experience for you? Because you said you're not PVMU until you go experience that first.
If we are talking about the same thing, and if it was hump day, then it's a thing they do every Wednesday. You get a lot of people on campus show up to that. It's one spot just outside the rec. It's like in a little grass area. If anybody watches, they're gonna kill me because like he doesn't know the name. I'm like, all right, look.
Are you sure you went to PVMU?
No, I went. But it's a little grass area. It's real nice. It's real nice looking over the education building, and they bring in the AV units and everything. They set up speakers and tents, and man, I tell you what, you walk by, like if you're going to class or something, are you going to work out, you look over and there's just a bunch of people on there dancing. You got people strolling, you got all kinds of stuff going on. So, and don't get me started on when there's homecoming. During homecoming, super hump day, they're out there for at least an hour and 30 minutes. Usually it's about an hour, 50 minutes to an hour.
Nice.
If that, like they're from 12 to 1 or something like that. But they're out there for a while, man. You got all the sororities, you got all of them. All of them are out there doing their thing, looking great. So yeah, it's a fun experience. I've been to maybe 1 or 2, and it's amazing. It really is.
It was Matt Provost who told me about it.
Good old Matt.
So yeah. No, that's what I wanted to find out. I was like, look, he told me you're not PVMU until you go hump day, which makes more sense in the Mount. I think I got multiple ones mixed up, but yes, it was the same one. So, but yeah, so that experience has been able to be enlightening. So, kind of going from there into joining with the rugby team. All right,
Okay.
you enter in with the rugby team. You've entered into the university. You know, obviously that the class right before you, these guys, like I said, they were the ones that helped me open up the HBCU rugby class. Against Rico, obviously Mike, Raheem, all those guys. You know, and you talk about them talking you into it. What was kind of the history that you felt from it whenever you were, first introduced into the PVMU team?
Oh man, I mean these when I came in here, I was probably one of the very few freshmen to join. We had a lot of seniors
Mhm.
or juniors that were either graduating or getting close to graduation, and man, you could feel that they were in it to win it. I mean, that's like the best way to sum it up. Had heart, they had passion, they wanted to win every game they could. And we had one guy, he was Avery, he would always be like, sacrifice body. Of course, a forward saying this. And he's like, sacrifice body. He just roll in there and just both like carry three people. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? But yeah, it was like passion, heart, everything. They had it all. They wanted to win. They told me from when they founded it and when back in 2013, like when they started, it was rough.
Yeah.
They were one of the first to do it, and I was like, all right, let's keep it rolling. And then yeah, that first season, um, it was great. Honestly, I sadly took an injury and had to miss out a few games, but man, those first ones I was with them, crazy. I got my first try. First try was my against Rice. I was like,
Nice. Oh, that's good.
oh yeah, it was great. I ran over a dude, stiff armed a guy, broke free, and I tapped it down. And of course, they were like, "You should have put it under the post." But I was like,
Look.
"Oh well, hey, he's the
Like, I
moment."
got through. Look, man, Defy, you hit that Superman. You're just like,
Oh
yeah.
yeah. I mean, it was like at least a 50-meter try, and I was like, "All right, man." I put it down. I was so excited. He was like, Rico was like, "The pose." I was like, "Well, you know what?" That was weird because I mean, as a freshman, I playing with a bunch of seniors, a bunch of basically super veterans. Like these guys
Yeah,
knew what they were, especially Rico. He taught me everything. I mean, passing, kicking, he taught me it all.
that's the
And
guy. Rico is a legend in and
oh
of
yeah,
himself.
and I got to play. I got to start, which I thought was crazy. Most of the time, I got to start for most of our games, and uh, I was like, like this. He's like, you're probably one of the first few freshmen that have done this in like the past one or two seasons. So I was like, all right, this is exciting, and I got to play, inside, outside, center. I played wing, and I was like, what am I doing? I thought, and I played forward. I played all the positions, so it
Yeah,
was crazy. It really was, and but yeah, that team had a lot of heart and they had a lot of commitment. They knew what they wanted and what they were going for. I think we were snubbed out of the playoffs. We lost to Texas State that first game,
I
and that
remember.
very last game we got beat out. And yeah, that sucked. That really sucked. We beat the other two teams, Trinity and Rice, but yeah, we got beat out of Texas State, and we had some other stuff happen, and it was just like, all right, well, that's kind of took the fight out of everybody after that. We were like, we still got games to play for, but
It
yeah,
wasn't the same because once now
no,
it's like, no, we don't have a continuation, and of course we want to keep it going, but it's like again that competitive spirit, that hunger, gets killed a little bit when you feel like you've been stabbed
oh
or
yeah,
you've lost something.
absolutely. Yeah, just thinking about it, man, that sucked because Texas State, man, no fault to them, they were great. I think they went off and they went to the state championship that year too. So it was like we didn't just play a decent state like Texas State team. We played a very good Texas State team. So and only lost to them by a little bit. So it was like and it's like that every year when we played really good teams, Sam Houston, Texas State, um, Rice. We play really good teams, and it's like we may win by we may win by a few or we may lose by a few, and it's like every coach is like, you guys have the most talented team I've ever seen like hit a rugby field, and I'm like, thanks. I'm like, there's not much else to say. It's just that's awesome that we get to be lumped in like that. But I want to be like, man, this is the greatest rugby team that I've seen touch a college field. That's what my goal is for PV. But as of right now, we're in the you guys are a good rugby team. So I'm just trying to elevate.
So let me ask, because I know that Mike took over now as coach, and I know Rico was helping for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
That 2020 is a hard one, so let's say 2021 more so. What was it like kind of being maybe player run and coached in that sense, especially, obviously a lot of younger guys, since you guys were just a few freshmen and the seniors were basically making their way out around that time. How was that process, and what were the challenges you guys really faced in that?
Well, I had to do one of those years at least by myself for the most part. I remember I had to do the coaching course and all that, so I felt what Rico was feeling in 2019. He was my freshman year, first year he was a player coach. He
Right.
played and coached. I remember he didn't even play the Corpus Christi game, our first game of the season. He went off to, or no, it was the first game, but he went off and he coached. So I was feeling what he was feeling, and like you had to, come up with you had to come up with practices, and
Right.
your scheduled times. You had to have practice plans. You had to have, equipment. I'm still now carrying all the equipment. All the balls, all the cones. I keep it all. I get the light key, and what Mike's been doing to help me is he comes out and coaches when he can, when he's not playing for his rugby team,
Right.
and he gives me the availability to just go out there and practice instead of having to worry about, okay, what's next, or hey guys, all right, I'm going to coach you guys, but yeah, it's still fun. Don't get me wrong. I want to coach, so getting to be a coach and a player and the captain, president, whatever, is a lot of responsibility, but I don't mind it. It's really fun, to be honest.
How did you feel that accelerated your process? Because we're talking about, again, 2 years best of playing rugby for you at that point. How has that felt for your development?
The coaching aspect or
Well,
playing
yeah,
aspect?
coaching and having to do the duel. So what you've taken from having to learn from coaching, how do you feel that has helped your development for now how you play? Or hurt it? Maybe it hasn't allowed you to develop as much. Like, what's your feeling on it?
I would have to say that I see things a lot differently,
Mhm.
especially from the coaching standpoint. I'm like I could be sitting on the sidelines with Mike and our new guys would, let's say, they'll just run a simple hands play, and I'm like, he should have hit that hole there, or he should have stepped here and went here, or he should have made that one extra pass. I'm seeing things a little differently than as a new 2-year player. I would have done those same things, take it
Right.
into contact, may not make that third or second pass, thinking you can do it yourself. And that's what I tell all the young people. Hey, listen to the veterans. If they say, hey, make this extra pass, it will help you in the long run, do it. Or if he says, hey, take it to ground sooner, or this and that, they're either telling you that because they want you to save your body, or they want you to make that extra pass because it's either part of the system or there's just an open man somewhere. And you're gonna, like, that extra pass would help you out eventually to get back in the ruck, or you'll get the ball back on the offload. And so that's what I'm seeing when I was coaching. I've watched so much rugby. That was my thing. After 2 years, I'm in here watching all the old 2019 World Cup games,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I'm watching Fiji. I'm watching all these teams go back and rewatching, and I'm just watching film after film after film, just watching games, just seeing how it breaks down, what they're doing versus what we can do. MLR, watching what they do versus what we can do, and not to mention the NCR sevens tournaments as well. You got hours long of video on there on YouTube. Just go and watch. You got teams from all over, from all the way from 1A or 1A, and then double A, 3A, whatever the divisions are. But yeah, that coaching from 2 years and playing for 2 years, and then going to coach, and then trying to coach and play. Basically, it's like I'm just seeing things differently, and I'm doing things just naturally.
Yeah.
So
It it becomes a lot more second nature. I know for me, whenever I started playing, I'm a running back by nature and a linebacker by a defense. So hitting and running is always those two things that come up for me easily. But I always had a lot more trouble with wanting to distribute because it's either like, yo, I can take this in, and I play flanker, so I can take this in, or I can try and outrun or outcuts, or at least gather in a lot of people, and then it'll open up the space. But it doesn't always allow the flow of play. When I became more media side and I just started taking in more games visually, it changed the way that I, like you said, started seeing the game, started kind of conceptualizing the game. And so now I slowed down a little bit, but now it's not about like, okay, let me go crash it in. It's like, okay, let me look for the pass a little bit. Let me go see what I can do. Don't get me wrong, I'm gonna still be an egoist. I still want to run the ball in. I got my points, but we still got to be a star every once in a while. But I'm more likely to want to distribute out and let it get out to the people who can move the ball more than on average than I would be before. For you and kind of continuing with the season, as you guys have been able to see how Prairie View's done in Texas and scheduling and everything like that, what is it that you feel that you guys need to do to be able to get more games or be able to get more stage time or get more awareness, all things considering?
Man, first, I think it just comes down to recruiting. Getting more guys is always important. Right now, we're having to play a 10 season because 15s, we got a lot of recruits, and this happens every year, and it's nobody's fault. I guess we just get a lot of people to join. They join the group chats, whatever, from our, media day or whatever they call it, group fundraising, all that stuff. And we get a bunch of people, but we may only keep 2 to maybe 5 at best. And that's even, throughout the season, you may have a few people drop off.
Right.
So, we may start out with, 15, 16, and we may dwindle down to 13. And it's like, hey, it's either injuries or they didn't like it anymore or they didn't love it, which is perfectly fine. If you don't love rugby or it's just not for you,
you don't have to be humble about it. They suck. All right, they suck, and you should have known better.
No,
I'm joking. No, I
was playing. No. It's people just, it's not for them. I perfectly understand. Football's not for everybody. Soccer's not for everybody. And baseball, cricket, all that. Not every sport is for every person. Like for me, I love football. I love rugby. The funny thing is, I like watching basketball. I'm just bad at basketball. I'm not good. So it's like, hey, basketball's not for me. All right. That's perfectly fine. But yeah. And then the other thing would be, I guess we would just need to be more, I guess with recruiting comes commitment as well. Like if we just talked about that, people, we have to really buy into what we're selling here. But also scheduling, I guess, when we have those bye weeks, like let's say we have a game in February and then our next game's not like in the very beginning of February, but our game's not, our next game is 3 weeks into February, we got 2 bye weeks there. Hey, schedule the game. Let's get a game against Sam Houston, at least a B-side. Let's get us something that will keep us, A&M. A&M's always, it's 45 minutes up the road. Hey, you guys want to play? Like getting those teams to, look at us. And that comes back to saying, hey, these guys are a great team or a good team. Let's play them. So I know A&M usually hits us up for a match sometime during, in the spring. So we're going to look to that.
Normally they're 15 season, basically.
Yeah, they try to. Yeah, they'll hit us up. I actually try to get people outside of conference. I try not to get teams that we always see. I love A&M. They're a great rugby team. I'm a good friend, or I guess I could say good friend with their coach who just resigned. He's a great guy. So I'm maybe look to him and say, hey, you don't have any other teams, or look in the Red River Conference when you got UT, Baylor, you got Texas Tech, you got TCU, you got all these UNT, you got all these other teams that are there. We just don't play. So try to get teams that we don't play. And there's still teams in our conference we don't even get to play. SMU, we have never played them. That's what I know
Really?
of.
How come?
I don't
Is
know.
it just scheduling, or are you guys? Oh, wait, before you answer, I'm sorry. I apologize for interrupting you. But are you guys in NCR or CRAA or just under Texas Rugby Union?
We are ACR. I know that for sure. We're ACR D3.
Okay.
We in our division, there's like in our conference in the Lone Star Conference, there's like Division 1, Division 2, and Division 3 brackets.
Right.
So Division 1, Sam Houston, A&M, or I think A&M, no, A&M's not. A&M just got, or their B team just got put in our conference.
Okay.
So you've got Rice, A&M, B side, you got Sam Houston, you've got, off the top of my head, I can't remember.
Trinity?
No, Trinity's with us this year.
Okay.
Yeah, everything's changed up. It's been changed for a while. SMU might be a D1 or D2 team. So we're D3. So we got this year we got SFA. We were supposed to have Abilene Christian. We were supposed to have Tarleton and Trinity. We were getting 3 brand new teams we never played before.
Yeah.
So, SFA turned out to be great. Those guys are amazing. So we're obviously, trying to play them some more. Tarleton got bumped up. They had more guys this year. So they were like, hey, we're going to bump you guys up. We're going to take Trinity back down to
Right.
We're going to take them down to where we are at. And then Abilene just kind of fell off this year, I guess.
Mhm.
So that was kind of upsetting. But
You know what I realized? It was Abilene Christian, not Angelo State, that I had my friend from. So I apologize.
No problem.
But yeah.
Yeah, Abilene, we got saved a 5-hour drive, but I was a little upset because they had told us their pitch was behind a house. Somebody owned a piece of land that had a baseball field or whatever converted into a rugby field, and I was like, I got to see. I was like, I want to go there. I know it's 5 hours, but hey, I'll make the drive. But yeah, we didn't get to do that one, but. I guess you say more TV time would really just be better scheduling, and that really just comes down to the number of players registered and having enough people. It's really just comes down to numbers. That's all it is.
Man.
So,
obviously, look, I HBCU rugby support all the time, so I always want to know what needs to be done so that we can continue to develop this thing. You guys are so pinnacle to the development of HBCU, and not just pinnacle, but part of the history of it that's being written over the course of this last 11 years, essentially. Like to know, like 2012 Morehouse, you guys were 2013, right at that edge kind of situation. So, like PVMU is an integral part of the history and development of HBCU rugby. And so to make sure that you guys are continually able to find the people, keep the people, retain the people, please always let them know, we're here to help because we want it and need it and very much need it. And we don't want to lose you guys because you guys are good and you guys are a strong, passionate team. Before I let you go, I got one last question. If you don't want to answer, please, feel free to be like, let me pass on this one and go. But, obviously you mentioned that your dad passed away some time ago. And you talked about him being able to go to one of your games and see you play. If you don't mind, like, what was that feeling like for you to know that he got to watch you be an absolute beast on the field and just like show out?
That was a great experience. I still have pictures. I'm making a tackle, and he's in the background, kind of like looking over from the sideline, trying to see where I'm at. Yeah, it was a great experience. Him getting to talk to Rico like talking to him, and him, getting to meet some of the teammates and stuff like that, getting to meet them, and they were talking about my dad on the way back, and it was like, you look just like him, and he looks like an absolute unit. I was like, well, but no, that was great. He got to see me play. I think it was I take that back. He got to see me my whole 2019 season, so it wasn't just the first game. He got to see me score my first try. He got to see me play my first game. yeah, it was fun. It was a really great experience. He got to have those pictures while he was here, and so yeah, it was he's got just all kinds of respect for him to be
That's so
there.
dope.
So,
Dude,
and
I'm so happy to hear that. And again, sorry for that, but I'm so glad that you have that memory and then some of that. Craig, man, I want to say thank you so much for taking the time. It's been a while trying to get you to do it, and I'm so happy you gave the honor of being able to do it and being able to help us, mark this point in history. Final thoughts. What do you? Final words from you. What do you want people to know about PVMU rugby and what you want left behind when you say Craig Dawson was part of PVMU rugby?
man, I want everyone to know that PV Rugby is still here. PV Rugby will still be here after I'm gone, and we are looking to develop more people to get to play rugby at higher levels. So it's not just at the collegiate level. We want you guys to come into PV, get an education, get some rugby education, and then go off and play other levels. Major it be men's club or major league or international. That's what we would love because that's what we're here for. PV, HBC rugby, and PV rugby is here to develop young athletes. That's what we want. And then for me, I want I just want the club to flourish. So I mean, they can look back and say, "Hey, man, Craig was one of the greatest, not greatest, but one of the best presidents we've ever had." I want them to look and say, "This is what the model we want to use for every president going forward." Get things done. Help the team out as much as possible. Just be passionate about not just PV, but HBCUs and HBCU rugby.
And I love that. And where can they find you guys at?
Oh, my Instagram, I guess would be. Man, I blanked out on my own Instagram. That's crazy. Craig Dawson. It would be Craig_Dawson 12. I'm not mistaken. And then I think let me look it up because we had so many rugby accounts. It's not even crazy. But
You guys really do be flowing through. I'm gonna need you guys to stop getting like ID. Look, if they ask you that you need to unlock something with a link, say no. Just erase.
Hey, I don't know what to tell you, but look up PV Rugby, all one word. If you need to see it, where's that? Right there, somewhere.
Let me bring you on the big screen. Let me bring you. There we go.
Yeah. So PV Rugby. It just says official Instagram of PVMU Rugby, and that's what you're looking for, really. I'll see if we can see it here. That's what's going to look like somewhat. You'll see it's too bright, but either way. But yeah, PV Rugby, all one word. You guys go look us up and follow us. Hey, hit us up if you got a team. Hit us up. We'll be hopefully down to play this season. So just let us know.
Man, I love it. Craig, thank you so much. I appreciate you. It's always a pleasure, and I look forward to connecting with you for what you do for the future, as well as with PV and in your own life as well, too, brother.
Yes, sir. I hope you have a great rest of the year, and I will definitely hit you up on 07s tournaments and any tournaments we do. I'll send you pictures, whatever you need for the Instagram or for the social or YouTube. Hey, hopefully, if we ever get to play another HBCU, definitely want to see you there. Put us on the YouTube channel. Get us some film. Do us something, because we wanted to play Howard. That was one of the things I wanted to talk about. We also wanted to play Howard or Southern, or Morehouse or another team, another HBCU team. Man, we wanted to get that another exposure. That would be you could host that as the HBCU Classic, whatever you wanted to do for that. GiftTime Rugby, that would have been amazing. So definitely let me know, and we'll try to make it happen. Best we can.
Sounds like a plan.
All right.
Say less. Say less.
Yo, I want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch this episode, man. Thank you, Craig, for telling your story and continuing to be a major part of rugby history. Y'all, I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. We still got new episode of Rugby Swag tomorrow, the news episode. So y'all stay tuned because we still got some great news that's going on in rugby going on right now. Like, what do we say? It's always happening. happening in some way, shape, or form. So in the meantime, absolutely take a look at some of our past episodes. Definitely, whether it is from the news side or from some of the great interviews that we've had over the past, like Jim Solomon, Nia Tapper, Blaine Scully, and so many more. Dawson Conway, Freddie Ajudua, Henry Ajudua, man. But I'm excited and I'm happy for you. And most importantly, I hope that you guys are happy. I hope that you guys are healthy. And of course, I hope that you know that you are highly favored. Until next time, y'all. Cheers.